Welcome to another episode of Master Phil in your corner with me, Master Phil. And today's subject, episode number 73, will be overcoming adversity and making the right decisions. So, before we get into that, we have to thank our sponsors. And of course, the number one sponsor to thank is philross.com. Everything for your workout needs. We have video library, we have books, we have kettlebells, we have body weight, we have martial arts, defensive tactics, even some knife training in there. Excuse me while I sip my coffee. We have the secrets of kettlebell training. Now, the secrets of kettlebell training goes over 100 kettlebell movements and 8 basic moves. As I say, the Super 7+1. And it's a one-time fee of only $69 to have this library at your fingertips at all time. We also have the Bodybell method. It's the world's only kettlebell body weight and dynamic tension certification that's based on a minimalist approach of strength, health, and fitness. And the system is recognized by both ACE and NASM for continuing education credits. Of course, we have the Master Phil in Your Corner podcast. If you'd like to become a sponsor, please contact us. We also have products for training, kettlebells, iso chains, books, more videos, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that's at dragondoor.com. And you can get there through the philross.com website. Also, through the philross.com website, we have Fit Team. Fit Team is a great site to get all of your natural, 100% organic, natural products for health and wellness, shakes, vitamins, so forth. And then, of course, burnalong.com. I'm a featured instructor there, as well as my wife, Amy, and join me and 2,000 other instructors for only $14.95 a month. If you go to the Master Phil in Your Corner podcast website, there's a code there for an additional discount. Here now, of course, we have Health is a Wealth, and we have an interactive virtual platform. Everything has to do with your health and wellness, from doctors to chiropractors to martial artists to kettlebells to anything in the fitness realm. And of course, health, wellness, dietitians, therapists, you name it. We also have the Winning Mindset. As a matter of fact, I'm one of the presenters for the Winning Mindset. We're blowing up at the seams right now. We do one-on-one coaching for athletes and executives, athletes of all types, executives of all types. We also do our featured presentations for mindset training. We do small presentations all the way up to large scale ones. And then we also have Megalo Social. So you want to check out Megalo Social. It is a free podcast, free platform, for your podcasts, for social media, competing with Facebook, YouTube, so forth. So it's free. There's no censoring. So, you can put on whatever your view is, you'll put it up there. But of course, we do have to maintain some semblance of respectability and no threatening at all, because someone was removed from there recently for making a threat against our current occupant in the White House. But we do not promote that at all. All right, so let's get into this, guys. So, all right, how many of you guys out there people watch? I mean, that's something I love to do. And it's one of the things I really used to enjoy when I go into New York City a lot. We call it the city here. All people who live in reasonable proximity to the city to New York City, call it the city, and that's how we refer to it in the metropolitan tri-state area. I just love to go there and sit back. And as I'm going to where I have to go, or just relaxing, having something to eat, just watch people as they walk by, or watch some of them as I step over them when they're lying in the street. Especially as of recent, it's been a little dicey in the city, but always trying to figure out how they got there. And you look at two people, same age, and one person is extremely successful, maybe walking down the street with a nice suit or a smart dress they're dressed very well. They look presentable, and then you have someone lying in the gutter peeing on themselves, and you wonder how they got there. Why did one person succeed and the other one failed? Some people have reached the pinnacles of society and other, in their respective fields, and then others have fallen deep into the depths and linger in the crevices that litter the floor. How is there such a disparity among among humans? We are creatures of the same species. How does this happen? So these disparities often conjure up jealousy, contempt, and even fierce hatred. And unfortunately, our politicians have always known that over time and always trying to create some type of division. Uh, what they do is they fuel the fires of creating a socialist state, and nefarious politicians fan these fires with the promises of the rich paying their fair share, redistribution of wealth. They promote this false notion that their failure, people down the bottom, is due to the success of others, connotating the notion of stepping on these people on the way up. And they promote this victim status, and it's order, their goal is just to create a schism, between the races, classes, gender, vaccination status, sexual preference, and any other means to divide us, and it's all in the name of them attaining and maintaining control. So it's something that we should really be adroit to, and part of the reason that I'm speaking. So, as an individual, what can be done? What can you do as a single person? In my humble opinion, this boils down to a couple of different components: how one deals with adversity and the decisions made. And you know what? You have to take control and accountability for yourself. Again, accountability for oneself and meritocracy are bad terms that are no longer accepted in the mainstream thought. So we have to really go and look at this and stop blaming others around us and start taking accountability for ourselves. So what we do, what do we base our decisions on? In life, things happen that are out of your control. So let me backpedal a little bit. Most of the things that occur out of your control. So it's important to understand this and come to terms with the fact that you only have control over your reaction to things that happen to you. So that's it. And when you react, bear in mind that cooler heads prevail. Look, things happen all the time. Okay? Decisions are made. You have a fork in the road. Sometimes you may have three choices. It might be four stems of the fork to go down. So you have to make that choice. And which way am I going to go? But most of the times, let's just focus on there's a fork in the road. I'm going to go to the right or the left, and I have to make that decision. And this decision has wide-reaching impacts. But they also bear in mind that if you made a decision and maybe it wasn't exactly the best decision, a lot of times you can change courses, right? So I've faced a lot of adversity in my time. More than some, less than others. My story is not unique to myself. Many people have faced adversity in their life, but I'm going to go over a couple of high points, and it's how you handle this adversity. So in high school, I ran some track, but my main thing was wrestling and football. Okay? So my junior year in football, I got speared in the back. I broke 3 bones in my back. It was, extremely frightening for a 16-year-old athlete, extremely active, involved in everything, working out, training, football, wrestling, track, whatever it was, playing other pickup sports and so forth. And I could not move my legs after the football game. It was the first scrimmage of the year. I was carrying the ball, and I went through the line, and I got slammed in the back. Someone drilled me. It's called a spear when they drive their helmet into your spine. And gosh, this was 1978. So yeah, the whole notion of not using your helmet was not in play then. As a matter of fact, you were encouraged to use your helmet. So I felt the twinge of pain in my back, but I played the rest of the game. I was in it. I was running the ball, and then I was on defense as a linebacker, and I just ignored the pain. And then the bus ride home, and then my back was bothering me. I sat down on the easy boy chair, and I couldn't move my legs. I was freaked out. My parents took me to the hospital, and wound up being very bad. Crushed 3 vertebrae, compressed them, and then I couldn't play football the rest of the year. I was sidelined, and then I missed my whole junior year of wrestling. And I was supposed to have a good year. It was tad disappointing for a 16-year-old. And then to further it, I was advised by the orthopedics that I may not be able to do competitive sports the rest of my life. Um, I did not take that lying down, literally. So then I really started getting into lifting weights. And me, as a 16-year-old kid, I'm thinking, gosh, the bones are weak. Let me just make the muscle strong. This is my thinking. So what I did was I just read, I'm going to give Arnie a plug, Education of a Bodybuilder by Arnold Schwarzenegger. And then I started just feasting on powerlifting information. And, powerlifting was pretty young back then, but, I'd known a couple of guys, and I went down to the local Y, and then, of course, in my basement. And I just started lifting weights and swimming. And I had a regimen of that. And I made a comeback, and I started wrestling again in April of that year. And I started training, and I wound up doing pretty well. And then in August of that year, I took second in the Eastern regions for Greco-Roman wrestling. It was an AU sponsored event, and we had the Eastern half of the United States, and I wound up again taking second. I lost to a 20-year-old guy. It was the U20. He was in college. He was like a sophomore or something. I was a junior in high school. I lost a 3-3 tie to him, and I beat everybody else. I did pretty darn well that tournament. I had one decision, 4 pins, and 1 loss. So I wound up doing pretty well. And why? Because I attacked the problem. And if you ever get a chance, go look at my YouTube channel at Master Phil, and you'll see these exercises that I developed through working with my chiropractor and other people. I developed a set of exercises that I still do every day, and it's called Total Body Warm Up. It's on Master Phil channel. I do those exercises every day, to help my back. So that was then. So then fast forward decade or so, and I get married, and I have 2 children, and I go through a divorce, and it's not a good one. Okay, I'm going to spare you the gory details. Let's just say it wasn't the best situation in the world. And then this all happened kind of right within like a few month period. Okay? I get separated, and 9/11 occurs. So 9/11 occurs, and I'm supposed to be there that day. My office was on the 25th floor, Tower 2. And I was one of those lucky people who, my boss told me, hey, listen, don't come in. I'd won some big sales contest to ADP. So my boss was like, yeah, don't come in for the early morning meeting. Do it on the phone, hack and sack, and come in later. So, I get another half hour of sleep, whatever it was. So I'm like, all right, cool. So, 8:30, we start our call. I'm in hack and sack. And then I get on the call, they said, hey, Phil, can you see what's going on? Because where I was, I had a clear view of the towers. Can you see what's going on there? Because we have smoke. I'm like, okay. So I go over to the window. I look. I'm like, oh, it looks like some idiot hit the tower with a piper. Well, because that had happened before. But as I'm saying that, I see the second plane hit, and I'm like, get out. It was incredible, disgusting, sick thing to see. I felt compelled to do something. So I got my car and I tried to get across the bridge. Obviously, they shut the bridge down under martial law. So I parked my car down in Perth Amboy, and a corrections officer gave me a ride across. And then I had first aid and CPR certifications. And then I got on a train and I went up to Staten Island where the ferry comes in, and it was just helping getting people situated. And I felt compelled to do something. And there was, I was sweating, there was soot, it was a mess. You know, people were screaming, it was crazy. But I felt compelled to do something, and so I went there and then got back later that night. But the reason that this has significance to the story here is that that perpetuated the loss of my job, because layoffs started shortly thereafter. And I escaped the first 5 layoffs, but number 6 hit me. So here I am. I'm divorced. I have a big fat alimony payment to make, of course, child support, and I lost my job. Now I looked at the landscape and I saw what was going on with that, and I saw that I wasn't going to make near what I was making before, with different companies for the same position. Essentially, my position got eliminated at Sun Microsystems, and I looked at maybe working for a reseller, going to another IT firm, but the dot coms had dot bombed. So I looked at what I could make, and I had my gym going. It was a um, part-time venture, and I had about 40 some odd students and 2 personal clients. And I just did a part-time weekend stuff like that. And so I decided, hey, look, let me go for it. So what I did was I went full force into my fitness facility at the end of 2003, beginning of 2004, and a short while within a year and a half, I built it up to 150 students and about 15, 16 personal clients. So I was pretty busy. And the good thing about it was that it enabled me to spend a little time with my kids, as opposed to traveling all over the place, going into the city every day and so forth. So it worked out pretty well, and also brought me to where I am today. So, you look at it this way, you could, how did I handle the adversity? What it is, on these examples, what I did was I surveyed the landscape. And what I did, I picked a direction and I didn't look back. I mean, sure, did I have doubt? Did I have fear? Did I have apprehension? Of course. What do you think I'm like? Gonna get up there? Hi, I can handle anything. I'll walk in here. No, listen, you're always filled with doubt and fear. It's what you do with it. So, I knew that no matter what, I had to be successful. So I just kept plugging away at it, and it wound up working out very well. My kids wound up being with me full time. And then, of course, this also going full time into the fitness arena, I wound up meeting my wife, and then we had another kid. So, things kind of worked out pretty well. But again, could I have folded? Could I have, kept blaming, my ex-wife, blaming, 9/11, uh, playing the victim status. Oh, feel bad for me. Look at what happened to me. Look what's going on. Yeah, sure. But you know what? Where does that get you? Nowhere. So what you have to do is take a step back and look at your options. Again, what do you have control over? Your reaction to things that happen to you. So this is what I did. And then, you kind of think everything's over and it's going well. I mean, the 2019, my studio is cranking full tilt. And, the thing is, at that point in time, I'd been a college professor. I got hired in 2017 as an adjunct professor. So I'm teaching 4 classes a semester. I'm working at my studio. My studio is packed. I mean, oh God, it's great. I have employees. I got 3 full time. I got bunch of part-timers. We're doing 40 classes a week. I got a couple of personal clients still, and then I got all these classes going. It's going great. My older kids are out of college, and I'm cranking away. Right, got myself my car I always wanted. I bought a Challenger with a Hemi and a 6-speed, and COVID hits. First, I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? Now, I'm not going to get into the whole COVID situation. You guys know how I feel about that if you follow us at all on the Master Phil in Your Corner podcast. But I looked at the whole COVID situation and I had to shut down my gym. Here I was at the pinnacle of success, January 2020. And then by May of 2020, my income dropped 79%. Okay. So I didn't take a paycheck for like 7 months, and I kept my guys on. And come the end of September of 2020, I'm like, guys, you know what? I'm not going to be able to keep doing this. So I shut the studio in November of 2020. And, no one's going to buy a business that's not there. So I just had to, I had to cut bait. So sold off a bunch of equipment, so forth, so on. And I wound up moving operations, but incredibly scaled down to another gym, which wound up closing a year later. Anyway, but the good thing was that I was able to sell the building, which worked out very well. But here I am. I have to figure out what I'm going to do. I'm not the kind of guy to sit around, and I told my wife that I'm going to take like a month off and reflect. And okay, truth be told, I didn't. And she laughed at me and said, yeah, you took like 4 hours off. Okay. It's kind of a running joke. So I was pretty frantic about, what am I going to do? So I started aligning with contractors, trying to secure full-time employment. I'll tell you though, it was an almost impossible task for me to get hired by a company. They were not interested in me, despite the fact that I had recently. Also in 2019, talk about Pinnacle. I also graduated with my master's in science, and I was selected as the speaker to the commencement of over 10,000 graduates. But now, despite this, and despite the fact that I ran my business successfully, went to school, raised my kids, so forth, I never even got an interview from one company, and I put out hundreds of resumes, hundreds, and no one has ever interviewed me, which is kind of sad. I guess they looked at my age and maybe some other factors, and decided that no, we're just going to pass on this guy. So yeah, but that subject is for another podcast, which I will address. So I just had to reinvent myself again. Luckily, I got hired full time at the community college that I teach, and then I also wound up securing a part-time position at another school, completely online. And I had also been involved in several online training, virtual training platforms, which I'm still on to this day. As you know, I'm on Burn Along. I'm one of their top guys there. I have my own videos. They're on American Eagle Live, and you can get them on philross.com. In addition to that, I'm also loading stuff up on Patreon, doing that. And one thing just led to another, which put me involved with P3 training group, and I have my Leo Less Than Lethal defensive tactics hand-to-hand program. So they've adopted that, and I'm the defensive tactics instructor for the team. And then I'm also got involved with the winning mindset, as we know that I'm a presenter for the winning mindset, as well as a mindset coach. And so it's been a heck of a ride. And also, I'm writing another book, third book, called Exercise Snacks. And I keep putting it out there, even though it's not done. I keep putting it out there. Nobody better try to steal it. So Exercise Snacks, fitness 5 minutes at a time. So I'll be we're almost done with that. but I just have to wait to take some pictures because I have to wait for my arm to heal up here. Uh, so you look at all these different situations that I was faced with, and you say, so what does this tell you? You need to be able to weigh your options and pivot. You know, you have to assess when to stick with something and when to bail. And you know that every situation, uh, is not set in stone. So you can change it. You can change directions sometimes, but you have to pick a direction, and don't be afraid to fail. You know, and also on the other hand, don't be afraid to stick with something, but know when to walk away. If you're wrestling or doing jujitsu or something, right, and you keep trying to move, it's not working, not working, not working. Look, at some point, you have to give that up, that you're not going to get that move. You have to transition to something else. So life is the same way. It's like a wrestling match or a jujitsu bout. You have to know, you have to roll with it, flow, right? You have to roll with the punches, as they say, and you have to take the opportunity when it presents itself, seize it, and tear that arm off. So that's what you have to. That's how you have to approach life. That's why, to me, the combat sports are so important. They teach you so many lessons. They teach you a lot of lessons about yourself too. So, this podcast has been a something that I've wanted to address for a while. And, I hope you guys use this as a reference. And I hope that what I'm saying here resonates and helps you in your life. You know, the thing that you also have to bear in mind is that, look, have people had it a lot tougher than me? Heck yeah. And have people had it a lot easier than me? Yeah, definitely. But we're all faced with adversity at some point in time. We're all faced with important decisions at some point in time. And you know what it is? It's how we handle them and how we face them. That is what is going to make the difference. This is Master Phil in your corner, signing off. Strength and honor.